I was my sister's boyfriend in Runescape and she had no idea. My sister and I used to play this game called Runescape. I knew she played it, but she didn't know I used to play it. We had a family computer in the living room. When my sister would do her chores and homework, our parents would let us use the computer. One day, when I woke up, I realized she was playing Runescape, which is also a game I was playing at the time. When she went to use the bathroom, I ran to the computer, found her username, went back to my room, and added her from my account. One day, I was in her world and I realized she was online and trying to sell some cooked lobsters. I bought all of her cooked lobsters and told her to add me since I would buy them all. She did. After that, we became closer friends online. I would always buy her food and items at a good rate. We would kill lessers at Karamja together and fish and cook together. It was really fun. One day, she began to ask me weird questions. She asked how old I was and what grade I was in. I lied and told her information that I was closer to her age and in the same grade as her. She liked that, and we began to talk about school, our country, and our family openly. I learned a lot. She once asked if I was a boy or a girl. I told her I was a boy. She later asked if I had a girlfriend. I pretended to say words like ew and gross, but wanted to see what would happen next. She asked if we could be boyfriend and girlfriend in Runescape. I shouldn't have said it, but I said yes. We played a lot together after school, doing quests and basically doing anything not boring until I realized that my high school homework was piling up and I would have to get a job soon. So one Friday night, I told my sister to trade me. I gave her all my money and valuable items. She asked what I was doing. I told her that I wanted her to give all the stuff to my other accounts. She said, okay. After the trade was completed, I messaged her and told her that I was going to quit RuneScape after being boyfriend and girlfriend for almost a year. This was my final goodbye. She told me to wait, but I logged out. I closed my PC in my room and lay down on my bed. I cried. My heart hurt. I couldn't complete any homework. When I came downstairs after an hour or so, I saw my sister on the computer walking around with my stuff at the exact same spot that I gave for everything. She just kept clicking, probably thinking I was coming back. My message was on the screen, and she was crying. The next few days, she didn't eat much and didn't talk much. I felt the exact same way, but I knew it was for the best. The TLDR is heartless brother befriended and broke his 9-year-old sister's heart. I can't really imagine why someone would want to do this. It feels like a deep betrayal of trust, even though it seems like I might be one of the only ones that thinks that, because most of the conversation around this whole story seems to be people being more on the side of thinking it's cute, that it's hard to get to know your family, so this might be a way to connect with your siblings, but I just can't see that. It seems like the weirdest, creepiest possible way to do that. Not creepy because he's trying to do something that is extreme, but just the fact alone that he is pretending to be somebody he's not for a year straight, having his sister divulge things that maybe she wouldn't want to divulge to her sibling or her family member or to anyone else that's not who she thinks is her RuneScape boyfriend. One of the top responses on this says, I find it kind of adorable. He got to know his little sister from scratch. No bias, no jealousy, just as a random stranger online. That moment when he quit was part of growing up and changing roles from being a brother to an adult. I saw nothing in the post about anything explicit, just being an online boyfriend and girlfriend. At 9, that's simply cute and not creepy. So when I say creepy, I don't mean creepy in the way that he's talking about it. I just mean in the fact that you're taking away the choice of this little girl to be able to determine if she wants to say those things or not to you, because you're not telling her who you are, and you know things about her that you could only know because of your relationship to her in real life, like her screen name, for instance. He finishes saying that 2 9-year-olds would be cute by default, but in this case, he was older and simply acted 9 years old. From what I gather, with the whole ill and gross thing, he played a 9-year-old accurately. So there's definitely a split on this. Let me know what you guys think about the situation, jerk or not a jerk, and what would you do? Am I the jerk for calling my coworker chunky after she repeatedly calls me slim and makes references to my weights after I asked her multiple times not to? I have a female coworker who repeatedly calls me out regarding my weight. I'm a female, I'm 5'9", I'm 115 pounds and very thin. She is very overweight. All the time she makes comments about my weight. She doesn't call me by my name, she calls me slim. I even heard her say one time, go ask Toothpick, as she said stuff like, you need some meat on your bones and you need to eat. I have only worked there 8 days. I have asked her very nicely to stop. Yesterday, I asked her to stop calling me slim again, and she basically said it's in her mouth and she can say what she wants. Today when she said, morning slim, I replied, morning chunky, and she got upset and actually started crying. Everybody here at work, there's only 6 of us total, is saying I'm wrong and I should apologize because being called fat is different than being called skinny, because being called skinny is a compliment. I said as long as she calls me slim, I will call her chunky, and now I'm the bad person. Am I the jerk if I don't apologize? The owner/manager has completely ignored the situation, saying it's a high school issue that we should figure out. So in case you're wondering, she's saying that this is actually taking place in a cupcake shop, of all things. But if someone asks you to stop calling them something and they continue to keep calling you that thing, in this case her excuse was because it's in her mouth and she can't stop, then of course something's going to happen. Somebody's going to clap back at you. Somebody's going to come and say something that is going to hurt you in the same way that they probably feel like they're being hurt by hearing that. Some people might enjoy being called slim, but this person has clearly made it clear that they don't. I mean, in this case, it doesn't matter what the popular vote is, because it seems like everyone in the cupcake shop is saying that the OP, the original poster, is in the wrong, and the other girl, the one calling her slim, is in the right, because slim is a compliment and chunky is not. But it doesn't matter what the popular opinion is. Somebody asks you not to call them something, you continue to do it, this is probably what's going to happen. But let me know what you guys think. Was she the jerk or not for replying back by saying morning chunky, and what would you do? Am I the jerk for telling my wife and her in-laws to piss off after they told me to stop cuddling my daughter? I have 3 kids, a 15-year-old female, a 12-year-old female, and a 7-year-old male. My oldest has always been a cuddler, and that suits me fine because I am too. Recently, my in-laws were over, and we were all watching a movie together. It was a kid's movie, and so my 15-year-old was bored out of her mind and tired, so she started to snuggle up to me and go to sleep. After the movie was over, we sent all the kids to their beds/rooms and got chatting for a bit longer. There was a fair bit of wine involved. I was sober though, and eventually after a short silence, my father-in-law let it drop that he thought it was inappropriate that I still cuddle with my 15-year-old. I don't really know why he brought it up suddenly, but I was prepared to laugh it off and just assumed it was the alcohol. To my surprise, my wife and mother-in-law both agreed with him. I have a lot of respect for my in-laws. I get along with them great, and I consider them closer than my own parents. Obviously, I'm quite fond of my wife as well, but I outright told them to piss off and go boink themselves. And then I left them and went to bed. I've never spoken to any of them like that before, but it felt like the right thing to say in the moment. They all want me to apologize for being so rude to them. Am I the jerk? So there was some people that were requesting more information, and he wants to clarify that they were not spooning. He says that she was sitting next to me and laying on his chest. One of the final things he added in the edit was that he loves his wife, but it hurts that she doesn't trust me. The worst part about this seems to be that they're implying something pretty horrible between the daughter and her father. Something that there's either more context to that we don't know about, or they're completely off base. And from the sounds of it, the original poster, the father here, thinks that they're completely off base, which is probably why he snapped on him in that way, since it's probably nothing to suggest that he's being weird or creepy. I think you might not have handled this in the perfect way because it doesn't really solve what the issue is. I think, as suggested by somebody in response to this, a better way of handling this was to get a little more clarification and say, oh, why would that be inappropriate? And have them explain exactly what they think is inappropriate and what exactly do they think in general. But let me know what you guys think on this one. Do you think the father is the jerk or not for saying this to his wife and his in-laws? And what would you do if you were in the situation? Am I the jerk for pointing out to my friends that they are not famous? My friends are dating. They're also actors who have had small roles on a few TV shows. I'm talking 2 lines or less. I say this not to be a hater. I truly am rooting for them, but to give you a scope of their reach. Neither one of them have a following in real life or on social media. They've got under 1,500 followers combined. Anyway, last week I posted a group picture on Instagram of people celebrating a friend's birthday. Everyone in the photo has got their arms around each other's shoulders, very platonic. Anyways, yesterday in a group chat between the 3 of us, they asked me to take the photo down because they don't want the public to know they're dating. I would consider it if they looked bad/too sloppy/sloshed, but they don't. Also, everyone has their arms around each other, not just them. Anyways, I asked what they meant, and they said they didn't want to end up in gossip magazines. I pointed out that they are not famous, and they don't even have functioning IMDb, and that they do not even have functioning IMDb pages. They were livid and called me a bunch of names. I think they're delusional, but they've been texting me demanding it and even sent me screenshots of them reporting it. Nothing has happened. At this point, I don't even want to be their friend. However, probably because I'm a jerk, I don't want to delete it based solely on principle. So am I the jerk? This one made me laugh just thinking about it. The part about the fact that I am gonna have functioning IMDb page. It's just a funny little detail to add in there, but all that aside, I think in this case, it doesn't matter if they're famous or not. If somebody asks you to take down a photo, especially if you're their friend, it doesn't matter what the reason is, just take down the photo. I can't really understand why you have to determine whether or not that reason is good enough. They're asking you to do it, just take it down. Everything else is just funny. It kind of seems like this is something he probably notices from them all the time, and it just happened to come out during this specific interaction. And this whole obsession over followers and all that stuff is very Black Mirror-esque, because it shouldn't even be a part of the decision-making process at all in a case like this whatsoever. But let me know what you guys think. Is he the jerk or not for refusing to take down the photo by pointing out that his friends are not actually famous? Am I the jerk for picking out the peas for my dinner in front of my mom's boss? Hello, I'm 20 years old and I live with my mom, 40 years old in the UK. I am autistic and don't like peas because of the texture. That makes me feel bad. I'm dependent on my mom because I'm not able to live my own yet, but I'm learning. My mom hosted a mini dinner for some colleagues. Her husband has a big house and a garden where we sat. I don't like dinners and eating with strangers, but I had to sit with them, which was a little bit stupid. They made food I don't like. It had peas in it and I don't like peas. My mom knows this, but I wasn't allowed to eat other stuff because it would be making a fuss and there was no time to make other things. I was not allowed to make something myself either. I picked out the peas for my dinner to feed ducks at the pond close to my stepdad's house because I know ducks like peas. They shouldn't eat bread because that's bad for them. I put all the peas in a little cup with my spoon. My mom's boss was sitting opposite of me and asked what I was doing, so I told him. He was silent for a while and said, "Okay." We didn't talk a lot, but sometimes he asked me a question and I answered. At the end, he gave me some more peas that he had to remove from his own food. I asked if he also didn't like peas, and he said, "I do like peas, but I also like ducks, so they can have my peas," which I think was nice of him. He also gave me £5 to buy ice cream for myself when I feed the ducks, which was also very nice of him. We didn't talk much, but I think he was a nice man and I liked him. But when he left, I talked to my mom and she came to me and was angry or upset. She asked me if I spent all dinner picking out peas and I said no. I also ate the pasta bits, but there were a lot of peas to pick out. She asked me why I did that in front of everyone because that's very rude to do during a dinner. It shows that you do not like the food and you have no interest in the guests. This is exactly what I thought, so that's true. My mom said that she understands that it's not nice, but if she says it's important, like she did before dinner, then it really is important. I should keep that in mind. There were people who deserve respect who feel put off by others touching their food strangely, not engaging with them. My mama's boss told her before he left that maybe next time I should eat something else because I didn't eat much. I'm not a big eater, so it's kind of normal for me, but he doesn't know that, of course. But the point is, he said something negative to her that could have been avoided if I didn't pick those peas out of my food. I don't know what to think about this. I understand that it's not a good thing when my mom was genuinely upset, and I think that it's a little bit much. It was just a dinner and you was a nice man. I don't think he's angry at her. I was just wondering, if I'm not saying something important here that makes me a jerk, am I the jerk for picking out the peas? It sounds like the mom's boss didn't actually care. He didn't say it in some sort of insulting way or anything like that. He probably just saw that the son wasn't eating and suggested for maybe him to have something else to eat. And the mom probably took that as something more serious than it really was. Like, oh no, my boss, he thinks that I'm a bad mother. And so she took out her anger and frustration on her son, when in reality, the boss is probably just making a neutral statement. And also, the mom's boss might not know that the son has autism, because when this story was first posted, it was actually without the edit that he did have autism, and he had this whole thing with the texture of the peas that makes him feel bad. So most people that saw the story the first time actually had no context about the autism part of it, and the mom's boss probably didn't either. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Jerk or not a jerk for picking out the peas during dinner in front of his mom's boss?